Hello, everyone, and welcome to another talk therapy session with your girl, Charmaine, your favorite mental health professional. So, today we're going to be talking about a very serious subject. Of course, all of the subjects here are pretty serious, and they are subjects that can be very emotionally charged in a lot of different ways. Because a lot of these things, myself, I have actually experienced. So this one is no different. This one is really something that we all need to understand because this is part of the reason that we go through a lot of different things that we go through in life today. The topic today is emotional incest. What is emotional incest? Now, the word itself, with the incest being on there, we know that is something that definitely is within our family. A lot of us have been through this emotional incest and did not know that we were actually involved in it. Because when we think about emotional incest, or when we think about incest, we always think of something that may be sexual. A lot of people have experienced that, but a lot of us have not experienced, the essay is what they would call it. Okay. But we have been in a situation, in a long term situation, where there was emotional incest. So, what is emotional incest? So, I'm going to give you the best definition that I can possibly think of so that we all can kind of understand it a little bit better. So, emotional incest is also called covert incest. It happens when a parent or a caregiver actually relies on the child for emotional needs that an adult relationship would usually provide. Okay. They may behave like the child is their love life partner. Emotional incest also is not the same as physical incest because what it does not usually include, uh, not always, sometimes it does, but not always does it include SA, okay, or sexual abuse, okay? So that's kind of like the basic, basic type of definition. So today, what I'm going to be doing, let's break it down and how does it actually look when it's a mother-daughter dynamic. Now, this usually shows up, and a lot of times these women, the mother is a narcissist, okay? And she's a narcissist in a lot, she has narcissistic traits, let's put it that way. But she also may have some other mental issues. The reason this whole thing comes about is because usually, more than likely, they have a terrible marriage. They have a terrible marriage. Even when the guy is still there, they have a terrible marriage with this person, but they're not, instead of them actually working those things out or getting some therapy for that marriage, they lean on that child that's there. Sometimes it's just one, usually it's just one that they single out. Sometimes it's more than just one. Maybe everybody has to take turns in being a person to fill in with their mother. Okay. So that's the first thing. Terrible marriage is the biggest cause. The other cause is that if you have a narcissistic mother, she always needs fuel. So of course she's going to take her children and use them as fuel, fuel for her ego, fuel for her needs, whatever it is that she needs. She wants to get it from that child. Even if it's adult like things that they need, they get it from that child. Okay. So what happens is the daughter sometimes becomes the best friend. The daughter becomes like the lover in a sense, but without the sex, but the emotional intimacy that the mother has with them. And I'm going to break these down in a moment. The intimacy that the mother has with the daughter is somewhat of what she should be having with her husband or her mate or her partner. But she puts her daughter, sometimes is a teenager, sometimes the daughter is a teenager, sometimes the daughter is just before she even gets to be a teenager, like 9, 10, 11, those type of ages, those tender ages. She puts that daughter in a position of things that an adult should actually be doing with her. And it's kind of sad because it does rob the child or the daughter of a lot of different things. And I'll break those things down as we go through some of the roles that this daughter has to play in order for the mother to feel, I guess, whole or whatever it is her issue may be. Okay. So one of the covert things about this is that everybody on the outside looking in would say, hey, they have the best relationship. The mother-daughter relationship is awesome because they share everything with each other. I mean, they're just almost like sisters. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of you guys understand this because you've been put in this position. You've been put in as the best friend, the golden child, best friend of the mother, the confidant of the mother, everything of that mother. But what it did to you, and that's why a lot of people, a lot of women that may be listening to this, they say, well, you know what, I had a good relationship with my mother. They think they had a good relationship with their mother until they figure out when they get in a relationship with somebody else, they find out how intrusive and how detrimental that so-called good relationship with your mother is. Okay. So some of the things that happen with just under the disguise of being the best friend to your mother and the best, and if you notice, a lot of these women, and this is how you know that you're being used. A lot of these women, these mothers don't have friends. Some of them do, some of them, most of them don't. They don't have any friends, and they don't want you to have any friends. So some of the things that I kind of wrote down here, and I just want to go through some of it. So this kind of makes when this dynamic has gone overboard, because I do understand that there are women and mother and daughters that have a good, healthy relationship where the daughter understands that she's her person, her mother is her person. Her mother doesn't, bring a whole bunch of personal stuff to them. They talk about certain things and then they don't talk about other things. Okay. Now, a lot of people may skew this as me and my daughter, we share everything. When you hear that from a mother, you really should, there should be a red flag. Me and my daughter and I, we share everything. And you may actually think that that is a good relationship. You really do. You really do. Because you really think that that mother is your best friend. My mother's my best friend. Is she? Now, I'm not trying to crash anybody's dreams at this point. But I want to show you where it has actually gone past you guys being best friends and you guys actually being emotionally robbed at a very young age. Now, when you're in your 30s and your mom's in her 60s and you guys are able to share things, that's one thing. But I'm talking about when you're young and your mother is putting grown woman things on you, conversations on you, before you are even able to really, really date. Your mom has put all these things in your head before you even get a chance to even date, if you're able to date sometimes with these type of mothers. So one of the things that I noticed that in a mother-daughter dynamic where there is emotional incest, the mother goes against that the daughter's privacy. She has no privacy. Okay. Her mother will ask her intrusive questions. Her mother may go through her things. Her mother may try to read her diary or her diary or her journal and things like that. Her mother emotionally dumps on the daughter, but the daughter is not able to talk about her own feelings. So every time they have a conversation, if she were to bring up a conversation to her mother would turn that conversation back to the mother, and start telling her about all the horrible things that she went through and what her father is putting her through, what her husband or the daughter's father is putting them through. Or even talk badly about the daughter's father if that's not her father that's there. So the daughter in turns feel guilty, for if she doesn't talk to her mother or share certain things about her private life with her mother. Okay. It becomes very confusing for the daughter because the daughter doesn't understand if this is done young enough, like when she's like 9 and 10. The daughter doesn't really understand her own feelings because she's all wrapped up in her mother feelings. She feels responsible for her mother's feelings. So when her mother's feeling down, she wants to be there to try to help her mother, feel better. Maybe she even becomes a little comedian or a jester in a sense to help her mother feel better because she feels so responsible for her mother, what she's been through. Her mother trauma dumps on her and emotionally dumps on her everything that has happened to her in her life. Instead of her mother getting her own therapy and all that, she turns her daughter into the therapist. Okay. And also in this best friend, as the daughter gets a little bit older, they become so-called best friends. Even before this is all I'm talking about, all before this daughter actually reaches adulthood. Okay, this is happening all before she reaches adulthood. Again, I don't have a problem, and I'm not talking about people that are that have developed a good relationship with their daughter and they're grown. Both of them are grown and they talk about grown folks things. I'm not talking about that. And only time that I think that is really good is if you've had you have boundaries. You have boundaries with your mother up until that point, and you guys just become friends as you got older. Like in my case with my daughter, she stayed a child in a child's place, and I only did child things with her, and all my adult stuff I kept to myself, or I talked to another adult about it. This is not happening with a daughter that is being having emotional incest with their mother. Okay, in my case with my daughter, which is unlike with my mother. My mother I'm a victim of that emotional incest, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But I'm just comparing a healthy mother-daughter situation versus a unhealthy mother-daughter situation. I never dumped on my daughter, even when I was single or if I was in a relationship with someone. I never dumped on my daughter and was like, you know what, this is what's happening, and telling her all these things that has nothing to do with her, you know what I mean? And nothing to do with, like nothing that she can do about it. Okay. So in other words, I pretty much kept the mother-daughter boundaries there. Whereas in emotional incest, in the mother-daughter situation, they have no boundaries. Like the mother that is committing this will ask the daughter all types of, sexual questions about her sexual prowess. Is she going with somebody else? She's asking about their, tipping around, trying to find out more about their, how that person is in bed, saying inappropriate sexual innuendos about the daughter or about her mate that she may be with. Acting like a stalker, acting like a scorned lover sometimes is what this mother will act like, even under disguise of best friends. Okay. So the reason I said that they acting like a stalker, so this mother may as you develop relationships with other people in your teenage years, as you develop relationships with other people, she all of a sudden don't like nobody that you bring home, got negative things to say about all of your friends, always talking about how negative, saying negative things about your partner, whoever it is that you go with. Nobody is good enough for their daughter. And just, or either they might flip it and try to be a part of your group, try to be your friend's friend, okay? Become best friends with your friends, okay? Try to even flirt with your boyfriend, okay? They do that. They love to do that because they want to break you guys up. They want to make sure that there is, that you understand that the real relationship is between you and them. Also, with an incest relationship, emotional incest relationship with your mother, it sounds a little bit like this. Nobody is your friend. I'm your only friend. I'm your only, you don't put any male or your partner above me. If you do, there's a whole bunch of conversation because there's no detachment. Okay. Your mother has not, you don't have your own body. You don't have your own say so. They're extremely controlling. They're like that crazy toxic relationship. When you get ready to go out on a date, they will try to make sure that they put all types of things in your head about how horrible that this may turn out for you. That's why most of you may have had to sneak out of the house. You may have had to do all types of things. Meet me around the corner. Don't come over here. You may have decided in your life, hey, I'm not even going to invite anybody to my house, let alone introduce them to my mother, because you didn't figure it out. You figured out something was wrong, but you didn't understand it as we're putting a name to it today, which is the emotional incest. You didn't see it as that. You saw it as your mother is very intrusive. She's too protective. She's a helicopter parent or whatever they call it these days. But actually, what it was emotional incest. Now she had you emotionally because you know why? Because when you decided, okay, I'm going to sneak out, I'm going to do this, you still felt that emotional pull. You still felt like something is going to happen because my mother said it would and all this other stuff. You still had that. And the reason that this is so hard for you and such a detrimental thing to have had this type of upbringing and had this type of emotional incest is because when you get in your relationship, it's like your mother is right there in the relationship with you, trying to tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And if she's evil enough, and most of them are, and have those narcissistic traits, she's already set you up to have a failed relationship with anybody that you deal with, because you don't have that trust there. You see her, even though her weak husband, which is probably your father or maybe not, is there. You're seeing a relationship that is toxic, that's still kind of, I guess, together, right? So you have nothing but that example when you go into a relationship with yourself. So why wouldn't you have a toxic relationship? Of course, you're going to have a toxic relationship. And she's going to make sure that if there's a good guy that comes into your life, he's going to be talked about, boring, stupid, whatever it is that she could say to turn you off from that person. And she may even see a horrible, toxic person come into your life and praise that person and say, yeah, you know what? Everybody has arguments. Now, you've told her that this person probably beat you up or did some horrible things to you, but she says, oh, you know what? She'll start telling you about her incidents where she actually stayed in the relationship. And look at your father. He's not, this, and this, and this, and this, So she really kind of sets this daughter up to be in a very toxic relationship so that she can at least have that best friend still come back to her. So she doesn't want this daughter to get married. She doesn't want this daughter to have a positive relationship with anybody, whether it be with her siblings, whether it be with her her other relatives in the family or anything. This daughter that is going through this emotional incest winds up being isolated in a lot of different ways because this mother is not teaching this daughter to have, to be able to regulate her emotions. She's also not teaching her boundaries. So anybody, she's not teaching her boundaries. She's not teaching her trust in herself, let alone trust in other people. Because if you continue telling a daughter that they're terrible and nobody likes them, so this is automatically lowering that daughter's self-esteem. So when she actually gets out and try to talk to people and try to have a friendship, then all of a sudden that friendship is not going to stick. Either the daughter is going to be too intrusive in that friendship's life because that's what she's used to with her mother, or she's going to be so standoffish because her mother has already told her that you can't trust anybody. You can't trust anybody. And everybody that she has brought to her mother, and she feels like she needs to bring everybody to her mother, is, broken down to this. Look at this person. They're sneaky. They're this, they're that, they're this, because they want to make sure that they break everybody up from that person because this daughter needs to be here to satisfy that mother's needs at all times. So what happens when this daughter decide, okay, I see what's going on here. I can't take this anymore. Well, when she decides to break off from her mother, it's like breaking off from a crazy, toxic lover. That mother will literally stalk that daughter. I'm talking about this now. This is as they get older, right? This is when the daughter decides, oh, you know what? I can't take no more of my mother. Something is wrong. Maybe they haven't even did therapy. Maybe they have, but maybe they haven't. They just know that it's just too much with my mother. She's controlling my life. I can't never have no boyfriend, no girlfriend, no nothing. I can't have friends. And it's starting to look like that their mother is the culprit. So they try to reach out to other people and talk to other people. And some people say, well, you know what, you only get one mother. They always kind of bring that in there. So they try to talk to family members. Oh, well, you know what, your mother is, but they know that that's not enough. Now, this is the tough one that comes. This is probably you, the one that's listening to that's got this far in this video. This is probably you. So you've decided, you know what? I'm tired of the intrusive things that my mother keeps doing. I've lost more friends and boyfriends that I can't count. Now I'm alone, or maybe I'm with somebody that I'm not even thinking about introducing to my mother. Maybe you've gotten to that point. And the reason you've gotten to that point because you feel deep down that, hey, you have never been your own person. She has developed and groomed you into something that is not you. She made you like things that you didn't like. She made you really second guess everything. You can't make a decision because you feel like you need to talk to her first, or you may stand there like a deer in headlights because you don't know what to do, because this woman has been controlling everything that you do up until this point. But as everybody knows, everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has this point in their life where they say, you know what, come on, something has to give. Now, some people, unfortunately, don't lead it back to their mother. Some people just think it's them. They think it's them. Why am I going through this? And it does start with you. It does start with you saying, what is it that I'm doing to attract all these narcissists in my life? What am I doing to attract such mean people? Or what am I doing that I'm always alone? And why can't I stay in a relationship when I know that the person is a good person? Well, it leads back to the fact that you don't know how to regulate your own emotions because you were so tied up in your mother's emotions that your needs were never met. Now, let's rewind to what I said earlier. This happened when you were a very young child, sometimes as young as 5 years old. Your mother has been grooming and grooming you to be this BFF, ever since you were a kid, right? You could barely play with kids your age because you had grown folks' thoughts in your head because your mother has been talking to you about all this grown folks stuff about how your dad cheated on her or he thinks he's cheating. He's always over his mom's house, or he's always doing this and doing that, or this guy that before I met your dad, he was like this and this. And she'll even go into sexual things that your brain was just really too young to really understand a lot of these things, right? So when you get older, all of that is already in you. Okay. So it's very hard for you to see a person or anything for that matter in a relationship. It's very hard for you to build a strong, solid relationship with good friends. You may look like you're building good friendships because they may be very superficial, but you never really looked into it because you had a superficial relationship with your mother. It was all one-sided. So sometimes you may wind up in one-sided relationships. You may be wondering, like, why am I in all these one-sided relationships? Why am I always the one that's calling? Why am I always the one that's texting? Why am I always the one that cares? Right? Because you were set up like that. It has nothing to do with that person. That person doesn't even know that you're going through all this mental turmoil of, should I text them? Should I call them? And all that stuff. They don't know that you're overthinking all those things. And sometimes people do sense it, and they find it as being intrusive, or they find it as being desperate or something like that. Whatever it is probably a big turnoff for them. But you don't know that. You're just going through a lot of different things and you don't understand it. Why am I in a relationship with somebody who beats me, hits me, smacks me, and I still go back with them after they say that they're sorry? And sometimes they don't even give me a real good sorry. They just, we just wind up together. Why? Because that's what your mother taught you. If you were in incest, emotional incest relationship with your mother, that's what she taught you. And here's the big thing behind the whole thing. So your mother treats you like this, right? She treats you like you're her best friend. But in the same breath, if she's a narcissistic mother, what does she do? She curses you out. She calls you all types of names. She gives you the silent treatment. Okay. This is what she does, right? This is what your so-called BFF is doing to you, right? Calling you all types of names, telling you how stupid you are, this and that, and all these things, right? And then she wants to come and bend your ear in about a couple of hours or even the next day or so when she feels like it. She wants to bend your ear about what has happened with her and her husband, or the latest gossip, or whatever it is, to make sure that she still can be in your business. Because if you spend too much time away from her, then you might be doing some things or getting to be a little bit more independent than you need to be. Okay? So yeah, this was very detrimental to you, your relationships, what you're doing in your life right now, your work, your profession, and everything. Okay, this woman has actually infiltrated everything in your life, and you don't know how to stop it, right? And again, like I said before, and I said in the other video, is some people are their mother is no longer even here, but she's ruling them even from the grave because she's instilled these things so tightly in that person. She's instilled this in them. They can't shake it because they don't understand the root of it. But when they are aware of what actually happened, that's when the healing and the recovery starts. Okay, that's when everything starts to be a little bit better for them. And this is when they decide, hey, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Okay, so those are some of the things that happens to a child, as they become an adult. And again, this daughter is guilt ridden a lot of times because their mother will start, as they get older, will start to be jealous of that same daughter that's supposed to be their best friend. Now, again, let's listen to this. If she's positioned you as to be her best friend, and then all of these other things start happening, how detrimental do you think that is to a daughter? So now if she has to separate from this woman, she's separated not only from her mother, who was supposed to be the nurturer, but she's also got to separate from the person that is her best friend, because usually she got you away from everybody that you thought was your friend. One may have survived out of the whole thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that was a good friend that survived. That may have been somebody that she may have picked for you that's horrible really for you. But one may survive through all of those things. But let's listen now. What happens to this daughter when she has to pull away from, not only she has to cut off a best friend that she has in her mind that is supposed to be a best friend. She has to cut off somebody that she feels that needs her, okay? And she has to cut off her mother, right? The nurturer, the person that was supposed to nurture her. These are so detrimental to a person in general, but let alone you having to cut off all of those things to know that all of that was built was all a lie. That's a very, very hard pill to swallow. And not all of us are going to be able to swallow that type of pill. A lot of us are just going to let things go as they go and, keep going through their life just as it is, and really beating themselves up, being depressed, being anxious, being, dealing with CPTSD, just in some of us even wind up on medications, trying to, everything not to have to come to that realization, the inevitable of being able to cut this person off and go no contact. If the person is already passed away into this other life, even understanding that was the issue, and now that you know it's the issue and being aware of that, you can cut that energy off. Because even though that person has, passed away or whatever, you still have to cut that energy off. You still have to understand that that's where it came from. You still have to reprogram the all of the things that person has put in your head about your partners and people and friends and things. There are people that person has cut out of your life, or you wind up cutting them out of your life because of what their opinion was of that person. It wasn't your opinion. You truly liked the person. You really love the person, but because this destructive individual that you called your mother has said some horrible things about this person, so because of your loyalty to your mother, you don't deal with that person, even though you know what that mother has said was wrong about this person. You don't talk to that person because of the fact that your mother had some bad things to say. Or you think your mother, because your mother may not be living, so you may think your mother doesn't like this person because you already know her pattern of people they don't like. And you may deal with somebody that you truly care about, but you know your mother would never like that person, so you don't deal with them. That's how strong this emotional incest has infiltrated your life. That's how strong it is. That's how strong it is. Your mother could be ruling your life from the grave. Now, if she's still here, she's definitely ruling you because she definitely can, she's over there sending that energy, vibes about this person, trying to send people to find out who you are. And you would think, okay, there's no way that a mother is taking this much time all in their daughter business. Their marriage has been gone and down the tube, even though they figment of their imagination may be still hanging around there. The person may be still there, but they still have a terrible relationship, toxic relationship, but they all up in your business, trying to make sure, trying to get people to find out what you're doing. And you would think, oh, there's no way that that they're going this far. No, they're sending people, watching all types of, sending all types of people to find out little things about you, waiting on you to say something about what's going on in your relationship. How sick do you feel when you understand that's exactly what they're doing? How sick is that? That's why the word incest gives us that ill feeling, because we like ill, emotional, we can deal with, but when we say emotional incest, ill. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way they make you feel when they're overly interested in what that person is doing. Then not only that, they want to inspect it or go. You're grown now, and this person wants to look all into your business, want to see who you're dating, possibly to break it up, but definitely want to put their input in it. Okay. The reason I get so passionate about this, because this has happened to me again and again and again, which is why I'm in no contact with my mother. Okay. And don't have any interest in actually talking to that person ever again. The contract that we may have had, as people want to say that we all have contracts with different people, spiritual contracts. Yes, I've broken that, torn that up, it's done. Okay. But that's not the here nor there. I want to be able to help you understand that you're not alone when you feel like you have to, like your mother is stalking you, or that you feel weird because you think, do they have sexual interest in you? It's not that. It's not that they have a sexual interest in you, because physically, sexually, things don't have to happen with somebody for them to make you feel that ill feeling, because of the intimacy or the passion or the jealousy or whatever that passion is so intense that feels icky, right? That feels icky, because you like, only a man or somebody who's romantically involved with me should have that type of passion or interest in me, right? So that's why we feel a little bit like ill, should that like be happening? You know what I mean? Now somebody on the outside looking in to you and your mother's relationship, they may say, you guys had such a, she always bragged about how you guys had such a wonderful relationship. That's why it's called a covert. Nobody sees it. It's emotional. It's covert. Nobody sees it but you and them. You feel it, you see it. And let me tell you something else. So some of us may say, well, maybe the mother didn't understand or know what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. They knew that what they were doing was inappropriate. They knew that it was inappropriate, because that's why they continue to put together these plans and strategic things to make sure your life was miserable without them. But the good news is that you can stop it, and you can heal from that. You can recover from that. But you have to, the first thing is to realize that's what happened. You may be so cloaked in the covertness, and it's a lot of shame that comes with that, because when you think about, you've chosen people in your life right now to this day, you got people around you that you did not choose, or you chose based on your mother's criteria. You have a best friend that your mother chose for you. And that person is not a best friend because that person really doesn't care about you. Okay. They do all types of stuff behind your back, talk about you and everything. But because your mother chose that person based on their criteria, not what you like, but they was the only one that was kind of acceptable because they probably, bonded with your mother in some type of way or whatever. And that's who they thought was your best friend. Yeah. They also, that so-called best friend, was really looking to take your place, basically. And your mother was willing to put them in your place because your mother doesn't care about you as a person. They only care about the fuel that somebody is giving them. And that so-called best friend was also that friend that always gave your mother so many superficial compliments. She stopped over to your house when you wasn't there. She was talking to your mother and talking about you. Just best to believe she was talking about you to this best friend, so-called best friend. Now, you probably have not awakened just yet. Okay. You probably thinking with that person in your mind right now, like, what is she talking about? And it's almost true. Did you pick your best friend that you with right now? Is that your best friend? Or have you figured it out now that she was always your enemy? Okay. Have you figured it out that she's the one that keeps feeding your mother everything that actually is going on in your life? Have you figured it out yet? Have you figured out the triangulation that your mother has put you through with all of your siblings, where everybody hates you, all of your siblings hate you, and you don't even know why because you never did nothing to them? But she's been telling them how much, some of them, that you're the golden child and that, you're doing this and you're doing that, you're going here and doing that, you and this and that, because she's all up in your beeswax. She all up in your business. You did everything she told you that you should do to make her look good. Not for you. Did you think it was for you? Because if it was for you, she would have had a little bit more to say to you about you. Okay. Now, a lot of us like to live in a little fantasy world about our moms, and we like to say, well, you know what, she's always been there for me, and da 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 da. Yes, I mean, you can stay in that fantasy world if you like, but deep down, that if you were to take everybody out of that situation, it was just you and her, and you really looked at that situation, you'd be like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You would say, man, I don't even like this girl, but she think that's my best friend. I don't even like this guy. You might even be married to them because she said that was a good person for you to be married to, but he's been the most abusive out of all the people that you've ever dealt with. The best friend has did all types of stuff behind your back and definitely talks to her and tells her all types of things about you. So this is a time in your life where you saw this video and you may be like, oh my gosh, this is some things that are definitely revelations. And if this is not for you, that's not for you. You didn't even have to listen this far, but thank you so much for, coming over here to check me out. But for the people that knows exactly what I'm talking about, you probably just came up to some realizations that, you know what, I need to do a little clean house here. Now, I've come far in my life, but I've been exactly where you are today. I've come really far. I've come to the point where I understand now why I was in a situation. Why was I in one-sided relationships? Why was I going after or allowing people to be in my life trying to see if it was going to be okay with my mother, because I really thought my mother had my best interests at heart. But when I learned better, of course, it happens a little bit later. It happened a little bit later in life for me. And some of you, you may be older than me, you may be younger than me, okay? But we all have that threshold that we figure out, like, wait a minute, something is wrong. And this needs to be your threshold. Maybe it's not your threshold. Maybe you haven't gotten to that point where you like, I get it. But I just wanted to explain this in a sense, coming from a person that has actually been through this, so that you can understand it a little bit better and understand that the reason that you don't have these solid relationships around you right now, it's not because you're not a lovable person. It's not because you're not a beautiful person. It's not because you don't have what it takes to be in a good relationship. It's because you have these things in your life that you had no idea was there. And you don't know how, you had a little bit of feeling of this might be the problem, but you never had you didn't have a word for it. You didn't have a definition for it. So today you have a word for it and you have a definition for it. Not only that, you have awareness of why and where this actually a root cause of it all. Okay. And this is something that I struggled with and I didn't have at one time. I didn't have a, word for what this was, but I knew something wasn't right. All I can think of when I was younger is that this woman is too much in my damn business. and it was almost like I didn't want to be like, I'm not taking accountability in my relationships. So I wouldn't really necessarily, I wouldn't say that it was her fault that I wasn't in that relationship. I will just be like, I don't know, that I will feel like she kind of interfered in it, but I would never really say it was her fault. I will always still think it was the other person's fault or my fault or us just not being compatible or whatever it is that I came up with. But when I think back now with the knowledge that I have now, I know that it was because of that root cause of her putting all that information in my head before I was even 9 years old. Okay. And kind of grooming me to be in horrible relationships or one-sided relationships, which is a horrible relationship. Okay. I didn't have, everybody wasn't beating on me and all that type of stuff, but it was a lot of one-sidedness in a relationship. Either the person really liked me and I didn't like them, or I liked them and they didn't like me, or I thought. Most of the time I know that these people like me, but I didn't know how to, that's a big turnoff to have somebody maybe seem like they're overly involved with you, or maybe I always felt like I needed to fix somebody. Who wants to be fixed in every relationship, right? So a lot of times the lines were blurred in what my role was in a relationship. I didn't understand it. I thought I was there to fix everybody. Whether you were okay or not, I was still trying to fix everybody. In fact, I know that I would attract people that were broken just because I know that I felt like I could fix them. But it wasn't them that I needed to fix. I needed to fix myself. But I always was trying to fix somebody else because that's what she taught me, because I was always trying to fix her. I felt responsible for my mother's feelings. I felt responsible for her emotions. I felt responsible for anything that was broken in her. And that's the same thing that I brought to all of my relationships. I feel responsible for, I need to help this person get to, feel better about themselves. I need to help this person find out what the root cause is. That doesn't need to be in a relationship. I'm not saying that you don't need to be concerned about another person and how they feel, but that's their business. That's their problem. That's their karma. Now, do I need to be a little bit concerned about them, because if you're in a relationship with somebody and they have some issues, of course it's going to affect you. But it shouldn't be to the point where you taking it all on to yourself and saying, oh my gosh, they were this in the relationship, and so I'm going to take everything, and take it all myself. No, that's not your problem, and it's not your position in a relationship. Your position in the relationship is not to be there to make somebody happy. That's not their happiness is their own responsibility, and your happiness is your own responsibility, which is what the thing that your mother did not teach you. They did not teach you to have that type of they didn't teach you that. They didn't teach you that you were separate from the person that you're dealing with. Y'all two separate people with two separate identities. They didn't teach you that, because she taught you are a part of her. Everything you did was about her. Everything you going to do is about her. You don't never have a separation with a narcissistic mother. If you try to have a separation with them, then you are disrespecting them as far as what they consider disrespect. So I hope you understand it a little bit better. I hope you understand it in a way that is going to help you have that awareness and help you as you start to get more tools and understanding about a relationship like this. Now, I am going to actually do the other side, where it's the son that is having this type of relationship. I'm also going to do the father-daughter, how this shows up in a father-daughter dynamic and what happens there. Now, again, I also want to just let you know that I understand that these topics are really, really emotionally charged. They're really, really triggering for a lot of people. I understand that completely. Okay. But the whole thing is that with this being a covert type of thing, listen, we have been silent way too long. And a lot of times with these situations, a lot of people we just don't talk about it, because it's not anything physical. Nobody, nobody sexually touched us or anything like that. So these things are overlooked. And in fact, people kind of, like I said, in this under disguise of a best friend, people think, oh, wow, she's so close to her daughter. Her daughter tells her, and she will go around and say the same thing. So it's hard for people to understand how detrimental this was to them as they were growing up, because in their head, they actually feel like they had a good relationship, and they didn't. Now, the people that do have good relationship with their mother to this day, hats off to you. Okay. I'm glad that you have a wonderful relationship, because I have a wonderful relationship with my daughter. I have it's not perfect all the time, and it ain't supposed to be. We're growing, we're learning, and that's how it's supposed to be. But at the end of the day, does my daughter know that I'm mother? I've never allowed my daughter to be nothing but a daughter. I didn't pull her in, and she's in her 30s now, so yeah, we can be friends now. But when she was a kid, no. No, you're going to stay in a child's place. Now, that's the one thing that I used to say, man, I hated when the adults used to say that back in the day, the old school old heads or whatever people call them these days, and they used to be like, a child should stay in a child's place. I don't believe that, in this case, that yes, but should a child stay silent? Because I heard that too, they should be seen and not heard and all that type of stuff. No. I don't believe that part. But a child staying in a child's place, being able to be a child, being able to do child things and children things, yes, please don't be pulling them all up in there, listening to all your woes. Get you a psychiatrist, a therapist, or a man, a woman, or whatever it is, friend, a confidant, some adult people that can understand adult situations. Do not put all of that on a child. Okay, they going to school. I used to go to school as a 5-year-old with grown folks thoughts in my head, and I couldn't even play with the other children because my brain was too grown, and I couldn't, if you're thinking all these grown thoughts, right, in your head, you don't got time to do no hopscotch and playing some, life is serious to a 5-year-old when they parents put that type of pressure or that type of conversation to them. I couldn't, why would I sit around and skip and hop when I know in my household there's nothing but chaos? Number two, that you saw your parents fighting the day before and everybody was arguing, and then you supposed to go and play hopscotch. No, you don't know. The world is different to a child that's brought up like that. The world looks different. They're not a kid necessarily anymore because their innocence, in a sense, has been taken, because now they're thinking about everything else except for really having fun, coloring in the lines, making sure coloring so that they don't go outside the lines and those type of things. Okay. So how do we combat that? How do we come back from something like that? Of course, like I said, you're going to need a recovery plan, a recovery program, a recovery tools to help you move forward and understand, first of all, the awareness that you've come up with. This is why I do have, the online program that I have a subscription program that really breaks down everything for you. You get to have that journals are sent out. I'm going to be sending out every month, but every journal is going to give you a prompt of what you need to be writing about each day. Okay. And then you're going to have a coloring book that's really going to be, it's an adult coloring book where you'll be able to bring things to life. There's something very therapeutic about coloring, about writing, about having that option to do those things. Also, each month you're going to get a book of the month. Okay. And also, we know that self-care is extremely important for us. So self-care will be part of that package, where you will get a beauty bar. You will get what I love, my shea butter. You want to stay, you also want to stay beautiful. You want to make sure that your skin is hydrated. You want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because a lot of these things, they break down our self-esteem so badly that sometimes we don't take care of ourselves like we should. And the reason I send those things out in those subscription boxes is because I want you to remind yourself each and every time that you need to take care of yourself. I also send a little bit of goodies in there as far as what I feel are comfort foods, just a little bit, nothing crazy. I'm not sending no big neck bones and black eyed peas in the mail. So it's just a little bit of comfort food, just to remind you that it's okay to indulge in your senses, and it's okay to indulge in you. So as you start to recover, know that you have a support system here. I on Saturdays I have a live Zoom meeting where you can speak freely. You can talk about your issues. You can talk about what's going on. You can listen to other people and this is all going to let you know that you are not alone. Okay. Now, as I build this this box of goodies, I am going to unbox it and let you guys see everything that's going to be in that box, because I'm not even saying everything that's in there. I have incense, and it's every single item that I have in this box is for a reason. Okay. And you using this box and the things that are in this box, you're going to feel so much better. I promise you. I promise you. And it's all really what I've done myself, but I just kind of compiled it so that I can send it out to you and help you the same exact way. Okay. So this video, I want you to go ahead and share it with the people that you know have been through some of the things. Okay. Share it and watch it over and over again, because you probably missed some things. I didn't even have any background music or anything with this unless I edited and put some in there. But I didn't even do that because I wanted you to really, really hear some of the things that I had to say when it comes down to this. Okay. So that's what I have for you guys today, and I hope that you understand this this program. I hope that you understand what you actually been through when it comes down to this, emotional incest. Now, I know that it is not widespread, it's not talked about as much. There's only a few people that I've heard talk about it online, and maybe I just haven't seen them all, but nobody is going to talk about it in the terms that I've talked about it today, because a lot of people may be talking about this situation as far as like hearsay, or or they heard this, or maybe they do have some medical jargon that they can kind of throw out there. But this is coming from somebody who has literally lived through this situation, has recovered from the situation, and continues to want to give that same energy out to other people so that you can heal and recover. Okay. And I'm here to tell you that recovery is definitely possible. And that's what this whole talk is all about. So that's what I have for you guys. I want to thank you so much. Please go ahead and watch the one that I'm going to do. I'm doing it right now. And this is going to be for father daughters. I'm going to also do son mother. That gets pretty weird, because if anybody has had a mama's boy for a boyfriend, you're going to relate to that one as well. So that's what I have for you guys. And thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your healing, your recovery. And again, if you're interested in that wonderful subscription box, it is located, the link is located below. Now, again, I love these boxes. You're going to get a different box every month. Okay. So, but I have it broken into, you can do it on a monthly basis. You can do it for 3 months. You can do it for a year. It's really up to you how far you want to go. And remember that you can stop your subscription at any time. You don't have to go the full, but I would suggest you doing no less than 3 months, because what is 1 month going to do for you? That's not going to help as much as if you did 3 months, because any of these situations, if you want to recover from this, it takes, to get on the ball of recovery, it takes at least 6 weeks. So doing the 3 months is going to help you way more than just doing 1 month and being like, not going to do it. I'm fine. No, do it to 3 months. Now the 30 days will help your brain kind of recognize that, hey, this is what I need to do. But doing the full 3 months is going to help you, and doing the full year is going to solidify any things that you need to continue. Even going further than that is all going to be more and more beneficial for you. Okay. All right. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much. And for you guys that have already started, sending in that order for those subscriptions, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And I will not disappoint in putting some goodies in there for you. Trust me on that. This thing. Wait till I do the unboxed. You guys are going to be like, wow. Okay. And again, it's for a very low price. And the reason I did it this way is so that I can keep the price down and be able to send you everything that I need to send you out. Okay. That's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful day.